Part of our summer culture is that we believe that we hear from God.
There's a step in which I learn that God talks to me. There's a whole nother step that says that God talks to you, and that I have the ability to accept that. And then, of course, John has the ability to speak it and share it. Okay, welcome back. So that was the videos. Especially if you watch the fourth video, there's probably a lot to think about here. So I'll tell you why we think this is important, why we do this this session. Is for Soma, we really believe strongly that it's so critical that we start with this premise that you hear God's voice. That learning to walk in that one gift is central to so many other things. That I like to say the most important thing I ever learned was to hear God's voice. But the thing is, the moment you open that door, you're automatically into the world of where things aren't normal, of where things are supernatural. And the truth is, that sort of is it's a gateway drug, so to speak, to just the idea that Jesus and God and the Holy Spirit, that it's this wonderful live adventure thing that's going on. And when we joke about the frozen chosen, right, the Christians who lack life, so often it's because it lacks power. That their walk and their story, it lacks adventure, it lacks interest, it lacks, if you'll forgive the word, magic. It lacks this place where God and Jesus and the world, the spirit world, that these are interacting with you on a regular basis. But the thing is, once you open that can of worms, you have to read the Bible for what it says. And all of these questions about prophecy and healing, they're all over the place. They're the bread and butter, especially of the New Testament, but they happen in the Old Testament too. Like, miracles are part of the story. And so there is, of course, the alternative notion of cessationism. Cessationism is the doctrine that all of the gifts of the Spirit stopped at the time of the apostles. And I'm not certain of this, but I believe it certainly was one of the big tenets of John Calvin. I don't know if he invented the doctrine or not, but it was certainly one of his big things. And so you have this aspect of the Reformation that brought in cessationism really strong, and that had this power to really take the miraculous and the supernatural out of the Christian faith. Now, I understand how that happens, but that's beside the point and off the topic right now. And I would strongly say, like, we got to get this back. We have to get this notion of the supernatural back, or we're believing in a purely natural faith. And I think that that's below our privilege. There's certainly so much available in terms of just walking with this being portion of your story. And if you've been around people who operate in some of these gifts, I think it's fair to say that some people do it honestly and some people don't. Some people, like this gal talking about tongues, like, she's been burned by this. She's been burned by people who don't proceed in the supernatural with honesty and integrity. That they use it as a show, that they use it as some kind of a badge or a club. And let me just put it, that's wrong. That's really bad. And it makes everybody look bad. For one thing, it makes God look bad. It certainly makes the church and any of the people who are doing this with integrity look bad. And there's a lot of folks who have sort of a baby with the bathwater response to that. They have one bad response, someone who, for example, prophesies badly, right? They take advantage of the situation. And then they just sort of give up on the whole thing. I think that's a terrible thing. So I want to remind on this, all this verses from 1 Corinthians, that we get so many of the verses about healing in tongues, this kind of jazz, especially that's the tongues passage. Paul concludes all of that with this, that if I speak in human or angelic languages but I don't have love, then I'm just a sounding gong, a clanging cymbal. If I have the gift of prophecy, I understand all mysteries and all knowledge. And if I have all the faith so that I can move mountains, but I don't have love, then I am nothing. And if I donate all my goods to feed the poor, if I give my body in order to boast, but I don't love, I gain nothing. So while we are excited and we advocate for the gifts of the Spirit, it's like this young woman in this last video, her experience was not love. And so that means that it was all bad. That in the end, if she gets pulled away from God because someone faked their tongues, because someone made up a prophetic word, because they were abusing their gifts, then they've done it badly. And I want to call that out, just be honest. So for anyone who's been hurt in that way, man, I'm sorry. I am really sorry. And it happens way too much. but I don't want to throw out the baby with the bathwater. And I don't want to run away from the crazy and the unpredictable and the mystery of God because some people have abused it. That would be a mistake also. So with that, that's kind of our topic here on the gifts of the Spirit. And I want to close with one thought that I've always loved, that I heard down at Bethel. If I have the Word without the Spirit, I'll dry up. If I have the Spirit without the Word, I'll blow up. But if I have this Word and the Spirit together, I will grow up. So I hope in this idea of gaining wisdom and revelation in your life, that will be part of your walk. Thanks for coming.